Hey guys, before I start the podcast, a quick introduction. My name is Warnit and I'm the founder of Pet Excel Marketing. Pet Excel Marketing is a marketing agency that specifically works with pet businesses. Over the years, we have worked with pet food brand, pet relocation businesses, pet SaaS companies, pet clothing brand, cat food businesses, dog grooming services, and many other product and service-based pet businesses globally. Our services includes everything from creating graphics to running your ad campaign. Not only that, we have built amazing websites and apps for pet businesses. So if you have a pet business and would like us to help grow it, click on the first link in the description to book a call with our team. Now enjoy the podcast. Hey guys, I'm Vernit, and this is the Pet Brand Podcast where we dive deep into the stories behind the most innovative pet brands shaping the industry. So, whether you are a pet entrepreneur, a business owner, or just passionate about pet care, this is the place where you will hear first-hand insight from the experts. Today, we have an incredible guest, Shaina Denny, the founder and CEO of Dogdrop. Dogdrop is revolutionizing dog daycare with its flexible enrichment focused model designed for modern pet parents. So, in this episode, we will explore her journey of launching Dogdrop, the challenges she faced, securing top investors, and scaling the business to multiple locations. We will also discuss the evolving pet care landscape, technology's role in the industry, and what's next for Dogdrop. So, let's jump right in. Shaina, thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thanks, Barnett. Excited to chat with you today.
Great, great, great. So yeah, let's get started from the beginning. Starting a business in the pet industry is often driven by passion, right, and personal experience. So like, can you share the story behind Dog Drop and like what inspired you to start this brand?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that really differs between the pet industry and other things. And you probably hear it every single time you talk to a pet entrepreneur. I started this because I had some problem or issue with my dog, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whether in dog food, pet services, anything, which is very different than a lot of industries of people looking for other problems to solve. So I started Dogdrop because I was looking for a place to drop my dog off for just a couple hours at a time. And I'm like, I live in
Mhm,
Los Angeles. We should have some of the best quality services here. And I absolutely couldn't find anything.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. And also launching a new brand comes at it with old share of challenges, roadblocks, right? So like, what was the biggest hurdle in launching Dog Drop, and like, how did you overcome it?
I always laugh. I think for me at least, launching is the easiest thing, and then
Uh-huh.
operating the
Yeah,
business
yeah,
is
yeah.
when things
Obviously.
get hard, right? Launching,
Uh-huh.
you're all excited. You're like, I'm gonna change the world. It's so fun to put things like it's
Then the
fun to
reality
work
hits.
behind. Yeah. I'm like, if you can do anything, sitting on your couch, working behind your computer, creating logos and ideas
Dreaming
and
about it.
yeah, Excel models and decks like that's the good stuff. And then but once it comes to operating the business, then you're in for the reality check.
Mhm,
So we've had our own set of, challenges to really be able to commit to that vision and that vision that we had to bring that concept to life. And that's been a lot of our journey the last handful of years.
mhm. And also like Dog Drop is backed by some top investors, right? So like what was your experience securing funding? Like in what advice do you have for pet entrepreneurs looking to attract investors?
Yeah, and it's always hindsight is 2020. And I talk to a lot of different founders, and the first thing you want to think of is like, how do I raise all this venture capital and stuff? And I always challenge people like, do you need to? But it's easier for me to say after I already have.
Yeah.
But I think from my background previously before Dog Drop as well, venture capital was all I knew in terms of funding. I didn't even like it's so naive to think about it. I barely knew about SBA loans. I didn't know about alternative financing or lending options.
Mhm,
So that was the only thing that I knew. So I think really consider what kind of business are you trying to build? Is this a venture backable business, meaning the returns have to be
mhm.
very exponential? Or are we all clear on expectations? That is what our goal is at Dog Drop. We're like, we're building the largest network of dog daycares. But I talk to folks and I'm like, explore what different paths mean for you and your business. And
Mhm,
each business needs something differently.
mhm. I didn't ask you about your background. Like, can you share more about it, like, and how it helped you with launching Dog Drop?
Sure. So before starting Dog Drop, I actually was living and working in China for about 3.5 to 4 years. So I
Wow.
went to business school in Shanghai. I fell in love with the city, and I ended up working with the Xiaomi group, so largest
Okay.
consumer electronics business.
Hmm.
So very much operational based, and I was working on one of their companies called Xiaoyi for their imaging technology. I'm
Hmm.
bringing them to the U.S. and well, I should say North American markets and Europe. I was in Shanghai for a couple of years, then I moved to Beijing and was working with a Beijing-based EV, an electric vehicle startup. So
Okay.
very different than in pet care. Again, I always say I got dragged into this from having my own dog Poppy when I got her. And it's been a blast to pivot into the pet industry, but also come at it from a different lens and perspective.
Mhm. Definitely. Talking more about the dog daycare model, traditional dog daycare often operate in like large warehouse spaces with like little focus on personalized care, right? So like how does Dogdrop's enrichment focused approach set it like apart from traditional dog cares?
Sure. So I looked at the problem that we wanted to solve for pet parents, and a lot of that was around convenience and flexibility. So I'll focus on that convenience aspect, and that comes from where the location is, right? And so by going into ground floor retail where people already live and work and play, we open up that market size of our users, of our in pet care parents for folks, not just because they can't watch their dog all day but they want their dog to get out for the socialization and enrichment. And that really comes back to my founding story is I worked from home when I started Dogdrop. I was still working when I moved back to LA. I was still working China hours. So until 3 p.m. all day, I was like, I'm home. I have nothing to do. I'm kind
Yeah.
of hanging out, doing whatever, but I still wanted to drop my dog off so that she could get the socialization, the enrichment, the attention that she needs from
Mhm.
other dogs and
Mhm.
trained professionals. So that's really what we've created was smaller spaces. So it's not just, 100 dogs in an area. It's also membership based. This is really important. So the dogs get to understand each other more. They come on, frequently, and
Yeah.
our
Mm.
team gets to know the dogs better too, right? It's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
impossible ask to ask an employee, hey, no, really provide personal attention to these thousands of dogs that come
Yeah.
in random and
Mm.
one every 6 months, right?
Mhm.
So that membership model really allows us to deliver on that service approach.
Mhm. And as a as a company expands, maintaining consistency in service becomes a challenge, right? So like how do you maintain consistency in care across multiple dog drop locations?
Yeah, I think that's a challenge all brands face, right? And we're now from at 4 operating locations, and we're also a franchise model. And so I think the same as we in our training philosophy to our drop raiders, our dog daycare attendants, we focus on prevention instead of intervention. We take
Mm.
that same philosophy with every part of the brand, right? So right now, we're how do we prevent, the quality deteriorating? How do we prevent all of that? And we've set up what we believe are systems and processes to be able to deliver. And of course, training, initial training, ongoing training. The training is ongoing and it's training reinforcement. But we're going to soon be at an inflection point if our hypothesis of how we're doing that is right, which I hope, I think. And if not, we have to pivot. Other brands have done it before, and I'm confident we'll be able to do it as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you also mentioned that, you want to like build the largest network of dog daycares. So like, do you have like, what strategy do you have for scaling dog drop?
Sure. So at the end of the day, we want to be convenient, right? So it all goes back to convenience, and convenience is typically having people not go out of their way. Whether you like Starbucks or not, sometimes you might end up at the Starbucks because that was the closest, quickest, you already knew what was on the menu, you're
Yeah,
just going to
yeah.
be in and
Mm.
out, right? And if you want something different, you might find another spot. And so with this, right, we have two strategies, and I'm going to break them down into the real estate strategy, and then we have obviously the franchise growth model. On the
Mm.
real estate side, we can partner with multifamily developers so that we can put Dog Drop on the ground floor of their properties. Oh, See something calling in. So we could put Dogdrop on the ground floor of their properties as well and really position ourselves as an amenity for their residents.
Mm-hmm.
And by working with any large multi-family developers, we have access to lots of sites. We're starting to now get RFPs, so requests for proposals from them saying, hey, we need to put a dog daycare solution at our property. We have,
Yeah.
380 residents. They're demanding other pet amenities. So that
Mm-hmm.
allows us to scale more efficiently on the real estate side.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, we don't do overnight boarding, we don't do grooming, we're not in vet care. So
Yeah.
by doing daycare only, we
Mm-hmm.
also don't have the same zoning as a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the other pet services. So that takes
Mm-hmm.
away a big barrier in time in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah,
real
yeah,
estate
yeah, yeah.
scaling.
Hmm.
Uh,
Basically, when you
and
have like a single service, then you can build system around it, right? If you have too many services, then it get too diverse, then you have to add more people to, then it gets more complicated.
Yeah, that definitely. And then that also hinders a lot of the site selection process. So you'll see a lot
Mm.
of vets, they have to be in special zoning or
Yeah.
boarding facilities or off the side of off the freeway or in a warehouse zoning. So for us, this really helps. And then the
Mhm.
second part to scale is through that franchise model. I can talk all day about this, but ultimately what I'll say is in pet care services and dog drop, it's the connection that we have with the pet parents and that local owner operator model really allows people, hey, this is a local business. Yes, we are trained. We have the same, we call it like the blue standards of dog drop. We have the training, the brand, the processes, the systems to deliver
Yeah.
the best care. But it's owned locally, which really I believe in pet is very, very important. We're not just, throwing out cold juices and smoothies and burgers. We're taking care of people's animals.
Yeah. Yeah. And many pet businesses struggles with expansion. So like is it whether it is like is it due to operational challenges or maintaining quality? So what do you think if somebody's listening to this podcast, they have a pet business, like what do you think, what are some key lessons you have learned about scaling a pet brand that they can use for their own pet businesses?
Yeah, so I'd say, start with the basics. So if you have a single unit or you don't even have a brick and mortar location, what are you doing with your small scale business and really get processes oriented? How can you repeat it? And of course, a lot of that for us, we're very documentation based. And I'm like, with AI now, I'm like, if we had this 3 years ago when we started documenting all of our processes, we would have
Yeah.
saved it's
Mhm.
insane to think. At this point, there is absolutely no excuse not to have operations and SOPs everywhere. They make it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so I definitely start and say, hey, what do we want to be doing? How do we create a process? How do we make sure our first location, pilot location, is everyone doing it that way? And then ask yourself, is that repeatable? Right? Because for us, I have to have realistic expectations. I can't say, well, I'm the only one at the company who can do it this way, right? I'm the only, so anything I create, I have to ask myself, am I holding a double standard? Is the average employee, hopefully we hire a higher than average employee. Can the average franchisee execute this? Can my
Yeah.
average
Yeah.
dog
Mhm.
employee and then reset? And that doesn't mean you have to lower your standards, but it's setting fair expectations.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And also you have features like real-time text and photo updates, and that's like a big selling point, right? So like how does this feature improve the pet parent experience for the people?
Yeah. So it's going back to trust, right? And trust comes when you're transparent, and transparency is, from our locations, they're smaller. We allow pet parents to take a look at our locations on the weekends when it's safe to go in the bag. We provide video and photo and real-time updates with the dogs. So that kind of communication allows people to be dialed in, and not every update's all rainbows and butterflies, right? It can be, hey, puppy's tummy is upset today. It's just checking if you notice this at home, or,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe Pop's a little reactive today, so we have to put her on more frequent breaks. right? So we don't want to just send parents with false illusions of your dog's perfect, thumbs up. And this is something we're always working on too. It's not perfect, but really providing transparent and honest communication is a core value. And yes, it's hard to do, but that's something that we're committed to doing.
Mhm. And also, do you have any plans for like a dog drop app in the future that you're planning to launch?
So we build all of our software in-house as well. So it's very cool. Our Dogdrop proprietary software runs and operates our locations. Currently, it's a web app. Primarily, we do have a customer-facing app for our
Uh,
members on
mhm.
the web app, but most of the features that we built, it's really towards our franchise customer so that they can run their locations efficiently and with the tools that they need. In the future, that may be something that we look at when it gets to that point. But right now, we're in a pretty solid place on the technology side.
Yeah, yep, yep. Talking more about the membership model, Dogdrop operates on a membership model, which is like quite different from the traditional pay-per visit approach, right? It's like, why did you choose this model, and like, how has it shaped your business?
Sure. So it's going to go back to, I always say we have two customers. We have the end pet parent and I have franchise customers. For
Yeah,
the end pet parent, I'm able to deliver a better, more personalized attention experience because our team will get to know the dogs better. Of course, membership has its perks as well. We don't want to nickel and dime everyone. So we're very different. We're not like, hey, I'll scratch your dog's, you know belly, pay us $1. I'll give them a Kong, pay me $2. I'll feed your dog, pay me $3.
yeah,
I will help you say hello, pay me 4. And that's what the traditional model, like from a consumer, I'm so sick of that. I'm like, just do what you have to do.
yeah.
And the membership pricing allows us to do that. We offer curbside for free, real-time text and photo updates for free. We have monthly photo shoots for all the customers. That's all included. We feed the dogs for free as well if they need feeding. Obviously, if they have to purchase food, that's another thing. So that's really in the best interest, I believe, for the members is going back to convenience, not can we,
Yeah.
feed a
Mm.
Kong. Now I'm interrupted. I'm on the podcast right now, and my dog daycare is messaging me trying to upsell me something. I'm like, just let me work,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, so then I come to that.
Uh-huh.
On the franchise customer as well for us, it's a monthly recurring revenue model, which allows business owners to prepare and hopefully make smarter decisions when it comes to staffing, overhead, and their business financial needs.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And also, like, understanding customer behavior is key to any successful brand, right? So, like, what are some of the key insight you have gained about dog parents' expectations and need working with Dog Drop?
Sure. I think it's not a one size fits all. So we want to be able to bucket people and we have to create different buckets. The two primary users that we have that make it simple in the segments is like all day users, all day pet parents who are, working at least from 9 to 5 each day. And then we have pet parents that are dropping off for 5 hours or less is how we quantify it.
Yeah, yeah.
And most of those are probably within 3 hours. And so for us, we want to understand their behavior, their drop-offs, what they're looking to get out of dog drop. That's one of the questions. It's like, hey, I'm gone all day. I'm a nurse. I literally leave at the house at 6 a.m. and I come back at 8 p.m. Okay, we understand and we want to make sure that your dog rests during that period. They're fed, they've gone to the bathroom, everything, but you might not need all these updates. You're in the ER or whatever you're doing. And then we have pet parents that are really want to get their dog out for socialization, enrichment, and they're really understanding all of this, the wellness, importance of wellness factors in dogs as well. And they may want more frequent updates. And so we really try to meet users where they're at.
Yeah, yeah. Talking more about the entrepreneurship, what do you think one piece of advice you would give to entrepreneur who are looking to forward to, entering the pet industry?
Sure. So I always say, be patient but persistent, right? So don't force something that's not there. Like
Yeah,
we it's a problem that we really need to solve, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't mean that there can't be a business. Do we need another single ingredient dog treat company? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm.
I get the sent samples from tens of feeling like 100 brands a month, and they're all great. And I think it's also positive because that also shows how big the pet care market is, that there can be all these people and there's still space for more.
Yeah.
Um, or is there a new problem that you can focus on solving that pet parents don't have a solution for? I think that's something that really excites me. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'll see another pet food brand and I'm like, that's awesome. It's great quality food. It's going to be a good business. I'm glad we have this, but I have
Mhm.
other solutions. As a pet parent, I still feel like there's so many areas of needs that are unmet that
Yeah.
I'm excited about people filling a new gap. Like
Mhm.
that's really what's
Mhm.
exciting to me. So be
Mhm.
patient, but and figure it out. Don't just, force something if it's not there, and but be persistent. No one's going to do it for you. You're the one
Mhm.
waking up every day. You're the one doing the work. It's not going to be given. Like you're going to get 1,000 no's, if not 5,000. I'm like the amount of no's I've had from like every side. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes you get heads down and get it done.
Uh-huh. And what you were talking about, you still like see some gap in the market, some opportunity market. What opportunity are you talking about that you see in the market that you think that other entrepreneurs can fill?
Yeah, so I look at it from my business perspective of operating a pet business. I think there are solutions there to better help other people operate pet businesses. And then I think of it solely from as a pet parent, right? So I would say in dog food and nutrients, I feel like I have a lot of great options, which is amazing that the last 5 to 10 years, all these startups have really increased the level of quality in dog food, but I feel like I'm tapped out and I have a lot of great options there. When it comes to vet care and where I'm based in the Bay Area, my team's primarily Los Angeles. In some of those cities, I'm like, there's a lot of great vet care options. I'm pretty tapped out. I can go to, 3, 5, 10 places and I will be very satisfied there. So then I keep going down, is it on training? Training is I think it's a hard business. I don't want to solve that problem. But I think for pet parents, there's still a gap. I don't know. I talk to parents all day long, pet parents, and I think there's not one go-to for training still. I know there's a lot of apps. I don't know if anyone's completely figured it out yet. It's very difficult. I think the step in behavior and wellness, some of these murkier areas there. So, and you'll start seeing once there's like, hey, 3 to 4 or 5 brands that you can say, here's a couple things you'll be happy with any of them. Then I think that I would go to the next category. That's for me, and maybe it's what's available in a different city. Is that not in? And even with Dogdrop, we're really trying to get focused more on secondary cities. Maybe that's an option for some of these services,
Mm-hmm.
first
Mm-hmm.
secondary or tertiary cities still have a big need to be met. So that's really how I would start thinking about it, but I'm sure other people have a different process.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're talking about like dog training. There's some else like you can also tap in the market. But like when you are working with Dog Drop, do you also feel like distracted with, okay, maybe we can launch another like a service with daycare, like any other thing that can expand your revenue? Is that something you get distracted with it?
So when we first started, I was like, okay, this is the problem that we're solving. Once we kind of nailed that down in dog care, we'd listen to our members. What is something that you'd want? What is something you need? And we'd start piloting other things. We piloted training, we've piloted grooming, we've piloted different things, and we can see, are we the best people to deliver this service? Is this the most scale? And I have two customers, right? To the in pet parent, and then I have to our franchisees. And so then I've ended up, I see who's better to partner with there or who's best for us to solve that problem or what's best for us to solve that problem. Right now, I'm so focused. I'm so bullish on what we're doing. There's still a huge gap in dog daycare alone that's what we want to solve. I want to solve,
Yeah.
I want to own dog daycare. That is our market. I don't want to be distracted with boarding. I don't want to be distracted with training. I don't want to be like I don't have shiny object syndrome, right?
Yeah.
We have so much to accomplish in dog daycare. We're at the very beginning.
Amazing, amazing. And the pet industry is evolving rapidly, right? So, like with new services and product emerging constantly, what trends do you think will shape the future of the pet businesses?
Sure, I think right now it's hard to think about anything, have a productive conversation without bringing AI up.
Yeah,
I think there's still a lot to be done. At Dogdrop, we're really interested in more like human in the loop AI. So I don't think AI is fully there right now to solve all the needs, but it can get you pretty far.
yeah.
And then have a human in the loop to really execute and deliver on the service.
Mhm.
So that's probably where I'd leave it, and it'll be really interesting to see where that goes. I'm sure even in, 8 weeks, I'll have a different answer. That's how fast things are evolving.
Definitely, definitely. Last question from my end, China. Like, what's next for Dog Drop? Like, are there any exciting development or expansion on the horizon?
Yeah, I always say what's next is more of the same because we are so focused on delivering a consistent and same experience. But, we want to do it better each time. Over the next 12 months, our goal is to open another 6 additional stores, probably in
Wow.
the next 12 to 14 months.
Hmm.
If we stay on track, it's not easy. We want to hold ourselves to that goal. And I think just be what's next is delivering more quality and convenient dog daycare to more neighborhoods and pet parents.
Amazing, amazing. So, guys, that's the wrap up on this episode of Pet Brand Podcast. China, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, I really appreciate it.
Great.
Great to chat with you.
Amazing.
Obviously, very, very passionate about this, can talk about it all day and excited to connect with other pet entrepreneurs.
Definitely, definitely. And for those of you who want to learn more about Dogdrop, make sure to check out their website and their Instagram. I will leave all the link in the description below. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Pet Brand Podcast and leave a review. And yeah, that's it. Let's see. End of the podcast.
Great.